Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on page 139 of your student journal. And our objective today is, I will use the standard algorithm to multiply. Okay, so far we've learned two different methods to multiply. We use the area model and we use the partial product method. This is the standard algorithm. If you've been showing your parents what you've been doing, they are probably been unfamiliar with it because it's not what they learned in school. What we're doing today is what your parents probably use, the standard algorithm. Now here's the good thing about the standard algorithm is if it's something that you get good at, it's the fastest way. In math we call that the most efficient. So it's usually the fastest way to do it, which is why most adults will use this. Now what I want you to know is after today's lesson you'll now have 3 strategies to multiply. I'm okay, and I bet your teacher's okay with whatever strategy you choose to use. Okay, so this is just giving you another strategy to use. Okay, so let's look at our vocab. We have our algorithm, and this is what we are finally doing, is we are using that. It's a set of rules for solving a math problem, a step-by-step procedure to calculate a solution. And the standard algorithm for multiplication looks like this, is where I set up my factors on top with the greater factor on the very top. I do have partial products, and then I have a product at the end. So it looks similar to our partial product method, but there's less partial products. Okay, so my steps are, my first step is, first line up the 2 factors. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. First line up the 2 factors, one above the other. Then I'm going to multiply each digit from one factor with each digit from the other factor. Again, sounds similar to what we did before. And then add the partial products. Okay, so I'm going to get started and show you what this looks like. Okay, so here is my first problem, if you want to sit back and watch. My first problem is 18 times 26. Okay, so 18 times 26, well, my greater factor is 26, so I'm going to put that on top. Okay, just like I did with the partial product, I'm going to always start here. Okay, so here's where it's going to get different though. I'm going to say 8 times 6, but instead of writing all of it, I'm going to do some carrying like I do when I add. So 8 times 6 is 48. But instead of writing the 48, I'm going to carry the 4 up there like I do when I add. So I put 48. So I put my 8 ones here and I put my 4 10s there. So 48. Then, just like I did before, I'm going to go to the 2. So I'm going to say 8 times 2 is 16 plus 4 is 20. So I would put the 0 and I'd go to carry the 2 for the 20, but there's nowhere to carry it to, so I just write it there. Okay, now there's nowhere else for my 8 to go. So now I'm going to go on to another one. So I'm going to go on to another one, okay, which I would go to my 1 next. Now, kind of a trick is cross those out so you don't get confused with those. Now here's where this gets weird. When I multiplied with the 8, my answer could go under the 8. But now that I'm multiplying with my 1, my first answer has to go under the 1, which means I need something called a placeholder here. That's called a placeholder because I'm going to be multiplying with this one, so my answer has to go under it. So now I can say 1 times 6 is 6, and there's nothing to carry because it's just a 6. So notice when I multiplied here, my answer had to go under here. Just like when I multiplied with the 8, the answer could go under there. 1 times 2 is 2, and there's nowhere else for my 1 to go. So my answer is 864. So my answer is 468. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you some stuff now and kind of see how this was related. So before I started the video, I actually already did this problem, and I did it using the area model. And I want you to see how it's done using the area model as well. So I'm going to make sure we can kind of see these. So notice I got the same answer when I did the area model. I did 26 times 18, 26 times 18. Both times I got the answer of 468. The difference was here I had 2 partial products and here I had 4 partial products. So that is kind of a difference there, is the different products, okay? Here I had 208 as one of my partial products, 208, okay? Look where I could also get that 208 from, right here. If I added 160 plus 48, I would get 208. That would give me 208. Look what else I had. I had 260, and look where my 260 could have come from. 200 plus 60, and when I add those, I get 260. So here I multiplied with the 8. I did 8. This was my multiplication with the 8. And when I multiplied with the 8, I got 208. Here I multiplied with the 10, which is the 1 in the tens place, and I got the 200, the 60. So the reason this is called the standard algorithm and people think it's more efficient actually is because you're just having less partial products. You're kind of squishing two into one. Okay, I'm going to show you the same thing here. I also did this problem using the partial product method. And again, look what we notice is I had 208 there. Look at my first 2 partial products here. 48 plus 160. If I added those, I would have 208. And look at my next 2 partial products. 60 and 200, which if we add them, we get 260. So what this is doing is it's just condensing some of those partial products and shortening the steps. But it's really the same idea. Okay, so I'm going to get started on my next one, which is 319 times 18. So I'm going to start by putting my greater factor on top. Okay, and then I'm going to start always here. Okay, so 8 times 9 is 72, but I can't write 72, so I'm going to put 72 like that, 72. Okay, 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15, so I'm going to put a 5 and carry the 1, so it's 1, 5 is 15. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25, so I'm going to put the 5 and I go to carry the 2 and there's nowhere to carry it to, so I bring it down. So I have 2,552 and there's nowhere else for the 8 to go. Okay, so remember when I multiplied with the 8, my answer went under the 8. Okay, before I move on, let's cross those off so I don't get confused. Now I'm going to multiply with the 1, so my answer has to go under the 1, which means I need a placeholder. So 1 times 9 is 9, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 3 is 3, and there was no carrying in that one. Okay, so I have 2 partial products. Let's add them. 2 plus 0 is 2, 5 plus 9 is 14, so I put my 1. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So my answer is 5,742. Okay, I also had already done this one using the partial product. I'm sorry, not the partial product. I had also used this one doing the area model. So I want you to kind of look again and look what we're going to notice here. My first one here was 2,552. If I added 2,480 plus 80 plus 72, I would get 2,552. So all three of those partial products are shown in just one partial product. The same here. If I added 3,000 plus 100 plus 90, I get 3,190. So I've taken 3 steps and combined it into one step, which is why this is known as the efficient method. Okay, I also did that problem using the partial product method. And just by looking at it, you can tell that this one looks like a lot less work. So once you learn it, it is a lot less work. It just is the practicing until you get fast at it. But notice I had the same answer and then the same idea, that if I took 72 plus 80 plus 2,400, I would get this. And then if I added just the 90 plus the 100 plus the 3,000, I would get that. So again, I've just condensed or squished 3 steps into one, took 3 steps and squished it into one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started and do some of these together. We are on page 140. We are on page 140. And my first problem says 61 times 30. So our greater factor is 61 and our smaller factor is 30. Okay. So we always start here. So ready? 0 times 1 is 0, and 0 times 6 is 0. Okay, now there's nowhere else for the 0 to go, so we're done with it. So we go to the 3. But when I do the 3, the answer has to go under the 3, which means I need a placeholder there. If you forget your placeholders, it will really mess up your answer. Okay, ready? 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18, so I put my 8 and I go to carry my 1, but there's nowhere to carry it, so I just write it down there. Okay, and I'm done, so let's add this. I have 0 plus 0, or 0 plus placeholder is 0. 0 plus 3 is 3. Nothing plus 8 is 8, and nothing plus 1 is 1. So our answer is 1,830. Okay, let's try another one. We have 123 is our greater factor, so let's put that on top, times 45. Okay, we always start right here. Ready? 5 times 3 is 15. So we put our 5 and we carry our 1. And I carry it just to the next digit. So it's 1, 5, which makes 15. Okay, so then I went to the 3, now I go to the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I put my 1 and carry my 1. So it's 1, 1, which is 11. So we went to the 3, we went to the 2, now let's go to the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Okay, now we're done with the 5. Let's cross those off. That's a good habit. Okay, now we're going to use the 4, which means our answer has to go under the 4, so we need a placeholder. Okay, ready? 4 times 3 is 12, so I put my 2 and I carry my 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, so now our partial products are done, so let's add them. 5 plus placeholder is 5, 1 plus 2 is 3, 6 plus 9 is 15, so I carry my 1, 1 plus 4 is 5. So our answer is 535. Okay, here's the great news about this video, ladies and gentlemen. Your parents should be able to help you with this. They'll probably be excited that it's finally math that they're very familiar with. So reach out to mom and dad for some practice and have a great day. Bye-bye.